Hey YouTube, what you know good? He is the Reverend. We're back with some more of that fresh art goodness. So, what are we doing today? Well, today is day and illustration 20 of October 2020, where I did 31 illustrations in 31 days of original characters of my own, as well as some made by friends, comrades, and fellow artists. This one is another one of those random ideas that I had in my head. Kind of like what happened in day 16 with that character Coyote. This one is another like random idea for like a short story idea that upon further contemplation could have been its own series. Like I have these sometimes these random ideas that if I ever pitched them could have made maybe like a run-of-the-mill average like slice of life or comedy like story, like a basic idea that if someone pitched it they could probably make a series out of it. So here's the pitch for this character. The character herself, her name is Shiho, and it's a temp name. I don't know if that's going to be her name if I ever do anything with this actual idea. Who knows, I might. I kind of like the idea. And she is an oni, like a Japanese ogre, Japanese folklore. Not a very tall one, kind of short, looks almost childlike. But if you know anything about oni, you know they can be extremely dangerous. The idea that I had for her was that she is an oni in the modern day who has no idea what's going on, has no actual means of actually obtaining any income, and is currently shacking in with this, like rooming with the person who found her, and slowly learning about the ways of the world, but also learning that she really likes the convenient lifestyle people have nowadays. If I made this a series, it would be something like a Freeloader Shiho or something like that. That's the idea in my head. Basically, I would have the idea that Shiho would be essentially a freeloader. Someone just this person is hiding a freaking oni in their house or apartment, and she won't stop eating all their chicken and drinking all their beer. So here's the basic gist of the idea I had in my head. Way back when, during the time that oni were a lot more prominent back in like ancient Japan, they were having conflicts going on with humans, and they had an agreement that many of the oni that realized that what they were doing was reprehensible or just not okay, they agreed they were just going to basically let themselves be imprisoned until they paid their debt to Japanese society, while the others said screw that and would fight. So a good number of oni would be essentially imprisoned in like underneath a mountain until a certain Japanese clan let them out. But that clan gets themselves killed by all the other oni who either couldn't find the other oni that were imprisoned or didn't care and just left them there. However, the idea was that these oni wouldn't necessarily die from aging or even starvation, or at least, or if they did, it would take forever for them to die. So they were just kind of stuck there inside that mountain for who knows how long, and Shiho will be eventually the last one that was in there. Either they died or the others just got tired of waiting and they just broke out and left. Cut to the modern day, the current day, and we got some guy who's just outside, like out in the mountains camping, enjoying themselves, one of those guys that likes to hike and whatnot. But then it starts raining and he has to make his way into into a cave somewhere in those mountains. Sets up a fire, regrets the fact that he couldn't do any decent hunting or anything, but he did pack some emergency food in the form of fried chicken. But as he sets that fire deep in the cave and gets himself warm and warms up his chicken, he hears something. And it was the growling of a stomach. And he's like, who in the world is here? And he just looks out there and he sees Shiho just chained up in the walls. Like, she's not just like chained up against the wall. She's chained, and like some of her body is literally within, like behind the rock wall, like almost like she was kind of like somewhat buried in the rock. It's like, so like some of her head's poking out, her legs are poking out, but some of her, but what little bit of her arms you can see that are poking out are also chained up. That's like part of the imprisonment. And she just couldn't help but notice the smell of whatever's going on. And this guy has no idea what's going on. He doesn't know if this is some elaborate cosplay. He doesn't know if that really is an Oni. All he knows is that she doesn't look too well, and she, based on that sound of that stomach growling, she must be really, really hungry. So he offers a share of that chicken. Freaking whoops. This gives her the idea that he must be that member of that Japanese clan that was supposed to let out the Oni when peace has been obtained and they have been considered rehabilitated. Before this guy can really get a word in, wondering what the hell's going on, she, with her strength renewed thanks to that chicken, just breaks out of the wall and snaps the chains. And is looking forward to finally reuniting with all of her Oni brethren, only to find out what year this is, and she has no idea what to do anymore because everything has changed. Needless to say, she's gonna panic, but our main character in this story figures, well, shoot, it's kind of my fault that you're in this. And I do feel kind of bad that you were just kind of imprisoned in a freaking wall for who knows how long. I don't know how this is going to work, but why don't you come room with me until we find some way to reunite you with the Oni, if we ever find any. I can keep you safe, and if I see you like that chicken, I can definitely introduce you to some new food. And we just kind of take it from there. And basically, it's just a silly idea of it's just a comedic, what happens when your roommate is not only a freeloader, but a freaking monster from Japanese folklore who really likes chicken and beer. It's just a stupid idea, a silly idea, but much like Kaori, I really want to try redesigning Shiho, like having a really clean and a character design that I'm totally cool with, and just redraw her. Like, these every now and again you come up with a random idea, like what I'm doing with some of these things in OC-tober, where it may have been a random idea out of nowhere or an idea that I've had for a while. And if it's one of these random ideas like this one, you look back on it, it's like, no, I could totally do something with this. I think I can. So just like with Kaori, I'm definitely going to eventually redesign Shiho and draw her again. I'm going to give both of these monsters justice. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. For now, let's just go ahead and wrap it up for today. If you like what I do, consider subscribing. And if you want to support this little project, remember I do commissions and have a Patreon. So until next time, take it easy, memento mori, and I will catch you all in the next one. Kill the feed.